Welcome to Unstoppable Female Entrepreneurs, where business expert and success coach Kelsey Matheson teaches you how to massively grow your business, navigate the mind drama that's holding you back, make more money, and acquire the skills and confidence to become unstoppable.
Hello, my entrepreneurial friends. This is Unstoppable Female Entrepreneurs, and you are listening to episode number 15. I am so excited today. I'm feeling so good. I've gotten my energy back after having COVID a couple of weeks ago. I'm ready to take on 2022, and today we're going to talk about patterns that are keeping us stuck and how our thoughts really do create our results. But before we dive in, I want to give a big shout out to Kim Hickey. I just finished reading a few more reviews for my podcast, and I have to say, I'm just so thrilled, you guys. I'm so thrilled that you've been digging this content that I've been putting out into the world every single week. I'm just so excited to read your reviews. And Kim wrote a review that says, "Authenticity at its finest. Kelsey puts it all out there in a compassionate and straightforward way. I loved the way she explained how hard work goes against our nature as humans, but that's not a viable excuse because you can make anything happen with the right mindset. I'm really looking forward to her future episodes." Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. I'm incredibly grateful for your review, and I'm grateful that you're looking forward to future episodes and that the content is landing with you. Yes, our human brains want to keep us safe. Stepping outside our comfort zone means danger, danger, danger to our brains, right? Essentially, it means death. Our brains are thinking, but if I do this thing that I'm not familiar with, that might expose me, where people might think I'm crazy, and that where I could fail. Our brains are thinking, don't do that. Are you crazy? You might die. But we have to remember, as Kim says, you can make anything happen with the right mindset. Yes, 100%. And that's because our thoughts directly create the results we experience in our lives. Listen to that very closely. Write it down somewhere. Our thoughts directly create the results we experience in our lives. The root cause of any problem is always our thinking. It's not the circumstance itself that is the cause of our problems, but the way we think about that circumstance. It's not our feelings or our emotions that are the cause of our problems, but rather the thought that created those feelings or emotions. And it's not the actions or the inactions or our behavior that is the cause of our problems. It's the thoughts and feelings that caused us to act or behave in a certain way. And the greatest news of all is that we have total control over our thoughts. We can't control our circumstances, but we can control what we choose to think about those circumstances. So I was working with a client the other day, and she is a client who I do more general life coaching with. We're focusing on her career, but she's not an entrepreneur. She works for a corporation, and she found me through Google. And now I'm helping her to shift her mindset around her working situation. I'm helping her to stop the patterns that she keeps repeating that are keeping her stuck, and also to help her really build her self-confidence. So even though I have a very clear niche of working with female wellness entrepreneurs, there have been times when people have reached out to me looking for a coach. And if I think we're the right fit and I have time in my schedule for another client, then we'll start working together. So what I've realized is that with this new client, for the past 6 years, she's worked at 3 different jobs, and all of them have been in entry-level positions. So within those 6 years, she hasn't advanced in her career at all. They've all been linear moves. So she's looking to advance. Like, she feels that she should be further along in her career than she is. She's looking for a company, and that could be the current one that she's working for or a brand new company. But she's looking for a company where she can see a clear career path for herself. She knows that something isn't working. She knows she's getting in her own way. And she recently found herself making mistakes at work. And one of those mistakes cost the company a significant amount of money. So at the end of last year, she received a lengthy review from her upper management about her performance and where she needs to improve. Now, she also got some positive feedback in a separate meeting, but what's super interesting here were her thoughts about both the negative and the positive feedback. So when she received the lengthy feedback that she felt was negative, her thoughts were, they don't want me working here. They're pushing me out. I'm going to get fired. They don't like me. Now, how do you think that made her feel? Well, some of the emotions that we talked about were hurt, scared, alone, lost, disconnected, disliked. And if she's feeling those feelings, then how do you think she's showing up at work? Do you think her performance is going to be outstanding and she's going to be knocking it out of the park and she's going to be impressing everyone that she comes into contact with? No. What we discovered was that when she's feeling hurt or alone or disconnected or scared or disliked, then she shows up at work and she tries too hard. She rushes through her work. She's more reactive to situations and she's more reactive to people. Her attention to detail goes out the window because she starts to ruminate about the company firing her and people not liking her. And she keeps thinking, I should look for another job. And why don't people like me? And why can't I advance? So if this continues, then really she's giving the company every reason in the world to let her go or to push her out. Like she's creating what she fears. But do you see how all of this started with her thought, they're trying to push me out? The circumstance was she made some mistakes in her job, and her review stated the areas that her bosses thought she could improve on. That happened. That's factual. But then she chose the thought, they're trying to push me out. Because look, she could have chosen the thought, okay, this is a perfect opportunity to improve and show them how valuable I am. I mean, that was an option for her. And how do you think she would have felt if she chose that thought? If she chose to look at the feedback and see it as a huge opportunity to finally advance her career after being in entry-level positions for the past 6 years, right? This was an opportunity to step it up. If she chose to think that, then she might have generated feelings of motivation or excitement or determination. And if she's feeling motivated, for example, then how do you think she's going to show up at work? Well, I'll keep you posted on exactly how it plays out, because that's exactly what we're going to work on moving forward. We're going to work on her mindset about the situation she's in, and we are going to set her up for success. Because during our coaching session, we dug a little deeper and discovered that for the past 6 years, her constant thought, the thought that's been a pattern for her, has been, they're going to fire me. For the past 6 years, she's been thinking they're going to fire me. And the result is that she's failing ahead of time and she's not giving herself a chance to excel and advance in her career. The result is that she's been stuck in an entry-level position for 6 years. The result is that she's giving them every reason to fire her. Do you see the pattern? It wasn't the mistake she made or the feedback that made her feel disliked. It was her thought, they want to push me out. And then she was showing up at work in a way that wasn't serving her or her management or the company or her career. And if she keeps thinking those thoughts that aren't serving her, then they will push her out. Differentiating our thoughts from our circumstances is really important as we work on our mindset. Remember that circumstances are completely neutral, right? I love the example. In a court of law, they are 100% factual. You can't argue them. Now, getting negative or constructive feedback may not feel neutral, but it is. It is totally neutral until we have a thought about it. And our thoughts are subjective. Thoughts will change from person to person, and they're not necessarily true all the time. They can't be proven in a court of law. So, for example, let's say it is 85 degrees outside. I really wish it was 85 degrees outside. It's a cold January day here, right? But let's say it's 85 degrees outside, and that would be a circumstance. It is totally factual. But saying that it's hot outside is a thought, because some people might think that 85 degrees is hot and others might think that 85 degrees isn't hot at all. I just said it's cold outside. That's a thought. That's not a circumstance. Remember in episode 9 of this podcast, I broke down the model. What I'm talking about here is more of the same. So now let's take a look at my client's thoughts when she received positive feedback. So the positive feedback was that they said she was a team player, and that they said that they thought she had a great attention to detail. And her thought about that feedback was, they're just saying that because they have to. They're saying nice things to motivate us. They're saying nice things to motivate the team. They don't really believe that. Now, how do you think that made her feel? Do you think it made her feel appreciated? Do you think it helped her feel confident? No, it made her feel uncertain. It made her feel worried. It also made her feel disliked. So now we have a circumstance where she was given what most would consider to be negative feedback. And we have a circumstance where she was given what most would, consider to be positive feedback. But the thoughts that she had about both of those circumstances are causing her to feel disliked. And then when she's feeling disliked, she's ruminating about not being a part of the team and feeling uncertain about her future and thinking that they're going to push her out and that she's going to be fired and all of the things. None of that is serving her. And all of it, she has the power to change. Crazy, right? When you are thinking that you can't sign up any clients, how is that serving you? So I'm telling you, it's not. When you are thinking that you suck at consultation calls or discovery calls, how is that serving you? It's not. When you are thinking that you are not going to put the extra effort into your business because there's really no point, how is that serving you? I'm telling you, it's not. We often think that our feelings come from our circumstances. We say things like, oh my gosh, someone left a nasty comment on my social media post, which is a circumstance. So I'm super angry, which is a feeling. Or let's look at this from the flip side. We could say, I signed up a new client, which is the circumstance. So I'm really excited, which is the feeling. But the truth is, our feelings come from our thoughts. We have 60,000 thoughts a day, and we're not consciously aware of all of them. But they are the reason for every feeling we experience. It's crazy, right? It's true. So when you get a nasty comment on your social media post, you might have a thought like, well, they shouldn't have said that. What a horrible thing to do. This paints me out to be a total amateur. Right? Those thoughts are going to generate the feelings of anger. It's not the circumstance itself that made you angry. It's the thought that you had about it. Even signing up a new client, the circumstance is not responsible for you feeling excited. It's the thought you have about signing up that new client that's going to generate the feeling of excitement. So it goes either way. And I think the most important part of bringing more awareness to your thoughts is also to come from a place of compassion, understanding, and love. Because we're human. So during a time where we might typically beat ourselves up, with practice, you can come from a more compassionate and loving place. And that will allow you to shift towards change, to shift the patterns. Because beating yourself up will not lead to change. That will only lead you to getting in your own way, staying stuck in your patterns, just like my client has for the past 6 years. Your mind likes to be efficient. So once it has been thinking the same thoughts over and over and over again, in the same patterns over and over and over again, it requires practice and skill to change it. And that's why my clients come to work with me. That's why I work with my own coaches. If you're trying to change your thought patterns, you'll need to practice patience. And many times you'll need the help of a coach to help you see your own brain. Otherwise, you are in a battle with your own mind, my friend. And when it's you against your same old ways and your same old patterns, you are going to lose. That's how we get stuck in behavioral patterns. That's why you can't make more money. That's why we don't sign up more clients. That's why we get in our own way. So my question for you this week is, what are the patterns that keep showing up in your life? I want you to think about that. What are the patterns that keep showing up in your life? Where there's a pattern, there's a belief or a persistent thought behind it. So let's uncover it and bring more awareness to it so that we can shift it with the intention of moving forward in the direction that you want to go in. Like Kim said, you can make anything happen with the right mindset. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you to those of you who have rated this podcast and left me a review. If you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you would. You can share an aha moment that you had, or maybe one of your biggest takeaways. Or you can tell me if there are any specific topics that you'd like me to cover in this podcast, that you'd like me to share with you, and I can create an episode especially for you. All right. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram. You can find me at the Kelsey Matheson. So it's TheKelseyMatheson on Instagram, the Kelsey Matheson. I would love to connect with you over there. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you next week. Ciao for now. Hey, if you'd like a weekly dose of motivation, inspiration, and actionable tips to grow your business while managing all the things, then you need to get on my email list. Just head over to kelseymatheson.com to join my list, and while you're there, check out the awesome free content I give away. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please share with other female entrepreneurs who need some love and support. And of course, if you haven't already, I would be so grateful if you subscribe, rate, and review my show on your favorite podcast player. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you next week.